Hey guys, me host SuperSorrell, thank you very much for tuning in. So, you are looking at my top 10 action figures of 2023 quarter one. It's been a fun couple of months of action figures. A bit of a slow start for me, a bit of a slow burn, but I've slowly gotten to a place with my action figures that I'm happy with. I've got my collection into an order that I'm happy with. I've got my videos to a place where I'm enjoying making them. So I hope you guys have been seeing that, and that's coming through into the videos itself. Yes, I know I've not been reviewing as many Marvel Legends, Star Wars Black Series, but I've got myself to a point that I'm really happy with my collection. SuperSorrell is going to become home to the darker side of the collector's universe. We're going to be coming more for the Universal Monsters, the darker side of Marvel, and some of the darker characters from the DC universe. I've always loved the DC Rogues Gallery, so that'll probably end up staying, especially characters like Lobo, Penguin, Scarecrow. I've always loved them. As you guys know, me and my wife are obsessed with Disney, although there's no particular Disney figures in this particular top 10. Although the McFarlane's hook nearly made it into this top 10, but it was narrowly beat out. There's a lot of cool Universal Monsters merch this past few months, which has made it into the top 10, as you can see. Universal Monsters is one of those things that is always going to be at the forefront for me. Horror has always been one of my top collections, alongside of my Star Wars collecting. I was always a big horror fan, and stuff like your Power Rangers, G.I. Joe. I've slowly become a good fan of G.I. Joe now, but Power Rangers I've always been a fan of since I was a kid. Fortnite, the figures, I love the Fortnite figures, although they're slowing down quite a lot now. And then the figures to me are about nostalgia. So characters like Pinky and the Brain, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, they're all very nostalgic to me, and that's why I've been collecting them. Over the last couple of months as well, I've been slowly getting into Super 7. I think they're definitely a contender for this year for me and my collection. I think I'm going to be getting a lot more of them. BSTAXN, from Loyal Subjects. I've been loving their Turtles line. I'm also loving right now the Loyal Subjects. Sorry, the Loyal Subjects. The Four Horsemen figures. They're quite addictive, and fantasy figures in general are slowly coming back into my collection. So because of Dungeons and Dragons, it's become a major part of my collection. I'm also happy to say that I have almost collected all of Marvel Legends monster figures to this day. There's only a few that I am now missing in my collection, and I'm really happy with the way the shelves are looking. With characters obviously like Frankenstein. I've even gone ahead and built my own customs for Morbius to make him more like the modern Morbius, and even characters like Frankencastle I've been able to build. But I've got to say, building a Frankencastle was definitely a highlight of the year, of last year, because obviously Frankenstein is built, and then you need to custom build a Frankencastle is quite cool out of other Marvel Legends parts. Definitely have a lot of fun. I'm going to be focusing as well this year on some other lines that we don't really find out in England very often, but you'll see on like Toy Bro or Sharpness Prime, or some of the American guys do the reviews on sort of like Loose Collector and people like that. I want to get more into those, as they do fit into my collection. I need the action figure for like Vampirella, Hell Witch, Los Muertos. I need those figures in my collection, so those will be slowly working towards going into my collection as well. But don't worry, I do still have my eyes on quite a few Marvel Legends for this year that fit into my collection, and as soon as we get some new Black Series, I'll be all over those as well. Right, on with the show, guys. I'm sorry for I've been talking for over 4 minutes. They're giving you a bit of a channel update, a collection update, and we've still got this top 10 to get through. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wipe the stage clean, and we're going to do a from 10 to 1, so from left to right. From my, from where Dracula is now will be 10, and right down where the turtles are will be 1. So I'm going to wipe the board clean, and we will start and show you which figures in which order are in my top 10. So just to clarify once again, all of these figures are in my top 10. The top 10 does not mean that, sorry, the number 10 figure does not mean by any means that it's the worst figure. It's just that we've got to start somewhere. So, coming in at number 10 is the DC Retro Two-Face. Didn't expect to like this figure as much as I actually did, to be honest. It's a great addition to the Batman retro line. Although Two-Face never officially appeared in the 1966 TV series. However, Adam West and the surviving people that were around still did come together and make a cartoon based upon the 1966 Batman films, TV series, and William Shatner voiced Two-Face, and they tried to resemble William Shatner a little bit here, I can see, to match that. So that's pretty cool where that comes from. If you haven't seen the 66 cartoons, there is 2 of them. The second one is with Shatner, and it is awesome. Definitely worth a watch if you're into the DC cartoons. Coming in at number 9 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin Playmates figure. Now, the Playmates figure I bought because of pure nostalgia. This is a modern version of a retro figure at its finest. It comes with tons of accessories, just like the NECA figure, except it's in that classic Playmates look, which I think gives it that classic appeal to a lot of collectors. These are the figures that I grew up with as a kid, so to have a new version of The Last Ronin done in the same style as all my figures from my childhood just makes me happy in general and takes me back to a simpler time. So number 9 is the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Last Ronin from Playmates. Okay, number 8. Number 8. Oh, I'm knocking them all over here. Ghost Rider. Now, I'm not sure if when the official release date was for that, but I'm classing that as part of this year's releases. This is one of my newer figures, and I love this figure when it came out. It is great. It's a great addition. I love the different heads and things we got for it. The different accessories were great, and it's nice to have that darker scaled version rather than the royal blue version of Ghost Rider. This version of Ghost Rider I use for my Legion of Monsters 1976 team, just because it is the same style as it was in the comic books. In later books, you started to get that darker blue tone rather than black. However, in the very old 1976 comics, Ghost Rider was depicted with this sort of like grey outline, which I think is very retro looking. So I love this version of the figure. It can't be any higher on my list as much as I want it to be, because there are so many cool figures this year. 10, 9, 8. So we're on to 7. Coming up at number 7 has to be G.I. Joe's Zatanna or Zarana. I was close to Zatanna. But yeah, another great addition to the G.I. Joe line this year. She was a cool looking villain character, or at least I use her as a villain. Like I've said before, I have no real connection to G.I. Joe from my childhood. I never really watched the cartoon. I did see the movie once, I think, but I was never a massive collector or follower of G.I. Joe as a kid, even Action Force, whatever you want to call the UK version. It was never up on my things to do. However, I've collected these as an adult because of the aesthetic look of the figures. I think they look great, and they are perfect for action figure photography. I also find that if you've got your Marvel Legends, whatever, you need some generic soldier fodder for them to fight. G.I. Joes are perfect for that. Also, the jungle looking G.I. Joe, so like your Marines and stuff, I've used those with Predator, and it just looks like they're straight out of an 80s action movie. So that's kind of the reason I collect G.I. Joe. But slowly and surely, as I've been collecting them, I've fallen in love with the line, and I think the line is beautiful. And as you can see, I've got collected nearly all of them now. I don't go for the sort of like your face covered commando kind of thing, other than Snake Eyes, obviously, because he's iconic. But I don't go for like your Cobra Commanders and stuff like that. I'm not into that. But if I just pan around my room here, I have a cubby hole dedicated right there to the G.I. Joes. And I've even been building some custom G.I. Joes. So yes, definitely been a mainstay in my collection now for quite some time. Number 6. This is getting hard now. Number 6 has got to be Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Again, it's the NECA version this time, though. So this is the NECA version of the Last Ronin Turtles. I'm deliberately not saying the name in case anybody hasn't read the book, because I don't think that should be spoiled for anyone. Go ahead and read the book. It's amazing. 30 years in the making. Well, yes, definitely go ahead and read the book. It's amazing. And this figure is awesome. I always have it with the hood off. You can put the hood on it. I do like mine with the hood off. There's an unarmored version as well, which is awesome. But I haven't bothered with the unarmored version. I think I'm just going to stick with this version right now. And see what else comes out. I know they have been saying they're going to be making a lot more of the Last Ronin figures in the NECA series. So I'm excited to see what is going to come out of it next. Coming in at number 5. Number 5 has got to be the Invisible Man. I should have kept him off screen then, shouldn't I, for a cheesy joke. The Invisible Man is up there for me because I didn't expect to love this figure as much as I did. I wanted it to complete my Universal Monsters line, but the Invisible Man was never a character that I was overly familiar with and overly sold on. But when this figure arrived, the accessories that made it were just awesome. The glove that could come off to make it look like he was looking at his, even though there's nothing there, it looks like he's removing it from his hand. It's such a cool illusion. And like the removing of the bandages around the empty head as well. Again, a great illusion piece. They just thought about it so much when they made this figure. And I prefer this to the NECA version. I think this version's got so much more going for it. It looks awesome. And he is a great looking figure. So he has to be in the top 10. But there were plenty of more monsters in my top 10, as I've been loving the monsters line over the past few months. So coming in next, it's the Wolfman, Werewolf by Night. Some people have been saying. I've heard a lot of people, including myself, to be fair, did say this is going to be a figure that's going to be popular for 2 reasons. Those of us that are Universal Monsters fans, but also people that need a Werewolf by Night, because the Werewolf by Night, action figure by Marvel Legends, is very old school and very outdated. It was a Toy Biz figure. Even though it does hold up and it is an amazing action figure, since the TV series Werewolf by Night came out, the price of him skyrocketed. Everybody now wants one. And I think Jada Toys released this at the perfect time. Yes, it doesn't resemble the costume or anything like that of Werewolf by Night, but it is a good stand-in for your Marvel Legends. If you need one, it is to scale with them. For me, though, it's a Universal Monsters version of the Wolfman. It's better than NECA's. I like the more wolf face on this one with the fangs and things. It's very much present. And the way he's moving his hands and things like clawed up. Again, very reminiscent of of the film with the transformation scene. So he's a perfect addition to the Universal Monsters shelf. I've been loving the Jada Toys ones, and I hope they continue to give us more. Can't wait to see what they announce in the future. Right, this is getting hard as we're now heading into the top 3, and we have 3 great action figures that are high up on my list. So this is going to be difficult, but coming in at number 3, again at Universal Monsters, the last monster on the list, this is Bela Lugosi, Dracula. A lot of people have been, from what I understand, this is based upon Bela Lugosi's Dracula from Broadway, to avoid legal issues with the actual branding and things, because it wasn't branded as a Universal Monsters figure. This was branded as a Bela Lugosi figure, so it has to be different from the original Dracula Jada Toys figure that came out. And they've given him a different attire. This is more of the tuxedo-wearing Dracula, although the wired cape was such a good addition. I love the wired cape on him. Looks awesome. And it looks like Bela Lugosi, but still is enough that you can get away with using this as a generic Dracula in your collection as well. As you guys know, I'm a big collector of Draculas, and I have quite the collection now of all different Draculas from all different walks of universes. So if you want to, I keep saying this, if you want to see my Dracula collection, let me know, and I can definitely get around to doing that. Oh, this is hard. It's coming down to a Marvel and a Star Wars figure for number 2 and number 1. Coming in at number 2, SH Figure Arts Venom. This was sent to us by Hio, and it was definitely the figure of the year so far for me. But one figure came in that did beat it, and that is Star Wars Cal Kestis Black Series. I think because I was waiting for the Cal Kestis figure for so long, this one definitely got to my attention to be the number 1 in the top 10. It's the figure that I am the most excited for. He just looks so cool, and I cannot wait for the new game. I'm hyped for it, and it's going to be a great game. It really is. I'm excited to see where they go with it. But I can't discount the Venom. The Venom is an amazing action figure. Such articulation. He can crunch up so well into different poses that Venom would make. Such a cool addition to my collection. Guys, what are your top 10 figures for Q1 so far? Let me know in the comments down below. If you've enjoyed this top 10, you want more top 10s like this, then let us know in the comments. Guys, thank you very much for watching. Until next time, may the Force be with you. Bye!